It is clear that LSU is starting to gel and become the team that everyone expected at the start of the season. They are coming off a good win over Texas A&M. But Kim Mulkey is a good coach, and they are never focused on the good. They are usually more concerned about the bad. And really, she has 3 concerns, which we are going to look at in this video. Those concerns being her bench, defense, and point guard. Now, before you say I am a hater LSU fan, they do have one big thing in their favor, which does make her very, very happy, and I will look at as well. Before we start, if you like the content, then please consider subscribing to the channel and giving the video a like, as it is a massive help. As well, your feedback and poison is always welcome. Now, if you've seen my content before, you know I have crushed Kim Mulkey on her non-conference schedule. And really, it's selfish on my part, as I want to see good games. But Kim obviously can do whatever she sees fit. And it seems like she's had a little bit of success in her career. Relax, LSU fan, I am joking. But she rounds a team into form in her own way, which is namely beating the living hell out of lesser talented teams to prepare her team for harder conference games. And well, the Mulkey way seems to be working yet again, as they are 3-0 in SEC conference play and are looking good. As I mentioned, there are some concerns which she outlined herself after the Texas A&M game. First, the depth issue. Mulkey was a bit pissed after the Texas A&M game, as at one point LSU was up 27 points, but this evaporated when they went to their bench during garbage time.
I am perturbed that we allowed basically a 27, 30-point game to be cut to 17. I'll take responsibility for some of that with substitution. But how do you ever develop them if you don't get them out there? How do you ever develop them if you don't challenge them? How do you ever teach them if they don't get out there? But
Mulkey, much like Gino or Dawn, is clear. You earn your minutes in practice, and I'm putting my best team on the floor. If you don't perform in practice or in the games, then she would just rather go with a shorter rotation and use players that she trusts and will deliver. And she was annoyed after the game, saying, if you don't play, I won't give you minutes, which is fair enough. She really has currently a rotation of 7 with Poa in the backcourt, who she trusts, as well up front, Del Rosario. But Mulkey doesn't have a hell of a lot of trust in Del Rosario at this point. She was giving her a bit of tough love after the game.
How effective was Aaliyah Del Rosario tonight, and what do you like about her the most, and what do you want to see from her more going forward?
I want, when she comes in the game, not to have her foot on the free throw line and give them another shot. I want her to come in there confident. I want her to come in there physical. I want her presence to be, I'm 6'5" and I'm the biggest person on this floor, and you're going to know about it. Don't play soft.
Del Rosario was always the emergency break glass option, and unfortunately Mulkey has had to do this due to Samaya Smith's injury at the Cayman Island tournament. It was clear at the time that that was really going to hurt LSU, but Aaliyah Del Rosario should be serviceable as an emergency backup if anybody gets in foul trouble. Mulkey talked a few press conferences ago about how she has improved her conditioning, as a lot of this was a consequence. When she came over the summer, she was dealing with an ankle issue that she'd had a long time through high school, and they basically had to shut her down for a period of time to get her over the ankle issue. And since the season started, they have really been rebuilding her conditioning, and they think she is playing and moving better. But obviously she's a freshman, and what they're hoping from her is, hey, be big, be 6'6", grab the rebounds when they're there and in your space, throw your body around, and use your 5 fouls. In truth, I really think this depth issue is a bit overrated in terms of having, oh, you need a rotation of 8 or even 7, especially if your 6 that you have are good and a full team. And it reminds me when Jeff Walls, after Louisville lost to UConn, he was asked about UConn's depth.
There are times as a coach when you're available players is cut down. See, what that means now is Paige has to be on the floor more. Is that a bad thing? It's not always a bad thing. Aaliyah Edwards has to be on the floor more. So it makes it easier sometimes as a coach when you don't have as many to put in, because then you don't have to worry about pleasing all of them.
The only caveat to that is that the rest of the players can stay healthy going forward the rest of the season. And if that happens, then yeah, I think they're fine. In some ways, I think South Carolina was hurt by the plethora of good players and having to share the minutes last season. I thought they would have been better served by playing Raven Johnson more last season and getting her prepared versus sort of sharing the minutes with Kira Fletcher. So really, depth is a bit of a double-edged sword, and I think LSU is okay. Yes, they miss Smith, but basically Del Rosario can eat up a few minutes, and as well, she can match up against the super bigs like they'll see potentially with Cardoso as well if they face off against UCLA and Lauren Betts. So this is fine. The second issue is defense. Mulkey is a defensive coach first. Her primary goal is for LSU to hold teams under 40% shooting from the floor and keep them under 68 points. She said this after the game. Hence, she'll keep harping on this as she knows her team has enough firepower on the offensive end and everything looks nice when you are scoring. But what makes her worry is when they run into a team with as much offensive firepower as them or a team that can put the clamps down on their offense, i.e. much like South Carolina, who is number one in the SEC. Yes, small sample size, but they are holding opponents to 29% shooting versus LSU, where opponents are shooting approximately 41% from the floor. Now, Mulkey lays much of the blame of their defense on the point guard position. She's talked about how they're working with Haley Van Lith about taking better angles and directing people better on defense.
From lack of trying, the kid plays hard. I think defensively, we just have to teach her that, channel them to a sideline, because she's going to give you effort. Sometimes you can give me the most effort, but it's wasted energy. I can help you if you just slow down a little bit and get angles. And I think, I keep telling myself that's a part of our problem on the defensive end, is that we don't take angles, we don't help, and then we don't help the helper much.
And that leads to the number one concern of LSU is their point guard position. LSU was spoiled last year by Alexis Morris as she was experienced and a true point guard. In addition, she was a beast on defense, making life a nightmare for Amore during the Final Four and went on to kill Iowa as well using the pick and roll game. I know HVL is polarizing and it's easy to make fun of her in light of her point guard quote and how she can play point guard, but in truth, I respect her for taking on the challenge of LSU and wanting to take on the challenge of running the point at LSU, as that's what she will need to do if she wants to go to the WNBA. But it's clear she's not there yet, and it's a work in progress in terms of figuring out when to be aggressive, when not to be aggressive. I really don't think you'll know how HVL will go as a point guard and what her true potential level is until next year. I don't see any way that she goes into the WNBA draft after this season, as she needs another year of playing the point. And as well, in this class, I think she would be the third best point guard to go in the WNBA draft, as I think clearly Osborne and Sheldon are ahead of her. And then I think it's pretty much even money between her and Amore. Amore shoots and passes and runs a team better, but then again, Van Lith is so good at getting to the basket, and that could be important at the next level. I think that's a line ball call between those two. But I think she knows it's better to max out her NIL potential at LSU versus entering the WNBA as a second-round draft pick, as sort of saw how that went for Alexis Morris last year. The tough thing for LSU and Mulkey is I think right now they know that where HVL is at, that that they are actually a better team when POA is running the point versus HVL. Mulkey's actually said that.
Well, POA probably would tell you she wants to play the off guard. They all want to play the off guard. They get a little taste of the point guard and it's like, I don't know about all this. But we're better when POA can play the point and Haley can go to the off guard some. Haley has done tremendous things at the point since she's been here, but I can't just take her completely off the wing. That's where she's grown up and that's her comfort level too. So when you can have both of them on the floor together, and then Williams can handle the ball. Flage would be, one that's going to mainly stay at the wing and put it on the floor a couple times, but not ever play the point.
That allows HVL to be more of a scoring threat at off guard and just go to her natural game. And they will continue to mix and match with that. When HVL went off against Ole Miss, like POA did well in those few minutes, they really settled down the game and stopped giving up the ball as much. Now, again, LSU fan will say that I'm a hater and I just want to hate on HVL. I don't. Again, I respect the hell out of her for transferring. I think it was a good move on her part, but I just think it takes a while to adjust to that point guard role, and we're not going to see the best of her until next season. But even with that the case, they'll be fine because they'll mix and match with having POA run the point at times and HVL. And they'll just be, the one good thing about LSU is they have so much flexibility in terms of their lineup because Williams is the X factor because she can handle the ball and do so much. She's just unbelievably. And then, of course, you got Morrow, and then Reese is a monster on the board. So, LSU is looking good. And then Mulkey pointed this out, and I 100% agree with her. The best thing about LSU, which makes them a potential monster, is that all of their players essentially can score. So they're all a threat to score. So they'll have multiple people or multiple players in double digits, and one could get hot and one might be cold, but it doesn't matter. And Mulkey's like, much rather have a whole bunch of players that can score than relying on one player to take 40 shots a game. It was not too subtle of a shot at the Caitlin Clark, Iowa situation. I know the LSU Are They Elite video was polarizing for a lot of LSU fans, and of course they have elite talent, but I want to see what they do when they have South Carolina on their court. That is their chance to sort of put down right there and say, yep, we're here, we're at this party, we are joining UCLA and South Carolina, and we are a force to be reckoned with. Till next time.